Welcome to Literacy Development at Barrett. Today, when you observe your child's kindergarten class, you will see a variety of activities alternating between whole group, small group, and individual work to help students develop reading, writing, and oral language skills. In small group lessons with the teacher, children focus on acquiring sight words and building story sense and comprehension, along with becoming fluent readers. Teachers will start their guided reading, their small group lessons, with some sight word review. These are words students have already learned, and the teachers are working with children to build automaticity, or rapid recall of the word when they see it. This makes sure students can read at a pace that allows them to comprehend and keep the story in their mind, rather than focusing on sounding out every single word on the page. Students then move to the book introduction, where the teacher will preview a new story with the students, and help them build some sense of what they're about to read. Usually students will conduct a picture walk, flipping through the book and describing what they're seeing on the pages. This helps students, if they run into words they're unfamiliar with, make sure they keep up with the meaning of the text and figure out what the word is. Students then read, generally independently within their small group, while the teacher listens to each child and makes notes on what the child is doing very well and what the child will need to learn next to continue to progress as a reader. The teacher will then work with the small group on one or two teaching points, either figuring out how to sound out specific types of words or looking at word families that have the same ending like bat and cat, or some strategy for understanding what's happening in the story. Teachers may then work on some new sight words, one or two, and then they may do activities like mix and fix, where they play with sight words and change letters to make sure they're acquiring them by sight and know them immediately and can apply that to new words. Guided reading may end with some guided writing, where students will write a sentence about the story they've read with teacher support. This helps students bring the literacy instruction full circle. Readers always write about the things that they've read. Our kindergarten teachers have adopted the Daily 5 model, which includes listening to reading, reading to self, reading with someone else or buddy reading, word work, and writing about reading. Students will be participating in some of these centers while you're observing the class. When students are reading to self, it's almost always in familiar text or books that are in their book boxes or book bags. It's important that students revisit these books over and over, because that's how they build their fluency, how they learn to read with expression, and how the words become automatic for them. A lot of the activities we focus on reading reinforce the alphabetic principle, or understanding the connection between the letters in words and the sounds of the words. A major kindergarten benchmark is for children to learn what we call concept of word, or understanding that printed pages have spaces between the words, and that those letters grouped together make one word. That one-to-one correspondence is important. During writing, you'll see how children develop from just doing pictures with scribbles or random letters to drawing pictures and then having text where some of the sounds in each word are represented. Some letters are correct. Spacing will then appear between words in the story, and finally they'll start writing some sight words correctly. This is a developmental process that stretches across the elementary years. Students draw the pictures before they start writing to help them plan their story and know what they're going to write about. Developmentally, Children start sounding out words after they've started to read and connect letters to those words. If your child is not currently spelling the words in their story correctly, don't be worried. They're acquiring all those skills they need to be able to come closer to correct spelling and finally be able to spell it from memory as they acquire specific sight words. A big part of kindergarten are our publishing parties where students share what they've written with the class and we celebrate the great writers that they're becoming. In order to support children at home, families can do a variety of literacy activities. The most important is sharing stories, either telling stories or reading stories to your children, so that they develop a sense of story and the enjoyment of stories. Reading aloud to your child every night is important, and having your child read independently in any books the child has brought home from school that are familiar will help your child become a fluent reader. For writing, anytime you can ask the child to draw a picture and write to a relative, or to write your grocery list for you or anything like that, helps your child practice applying those letter sound connections and making sense out of the alphabetic principle to write specific words and to write for a purpose in all the ways that we as adults write. That's literacy instruction at Barrett.